Okay, hey everybody, this is the second video for genetics, and it is to help you to complete this activity, which normally we would do it on the first day that we introduced genetics, the genetics unit, and you would go home and you would complete the last two columns as homework, and then I would check it the next day and we would go over the results. So this is my second attempt at doing this video. I'm having some conductivity problems. So anyway, we'll try to be quick. I apologize if I go too fast. Just stop and rewind as needed. So turn to page 3. It'll be page 3 and page 4 of the posted packet here on Canvas for this week. And we're going to talk about these terms here at the top, and you're going to do an evaluation of what traits you have personally, which is kind of cool. And it's interesting to be able to, when I say family members, you're going to compare what you have with your family members, or it doesn't matter if they're biologically related to you at all. It's just cool to see who are your people that you're with and what traits do you share with one another. So, okay, so we're going to start here with the word trait. And remember from the first video, trait is a genetic characteristic. It's an inherited characteristic, one you didn't acquire while you're alive. It's something you were born with. Of those traits, there are different alleles, different forms of those traits. So like in our first video, it talked about eye color as a trait. What are the different alleles, the different forms of that trait? Brown, green, blue, hazel. So you'll notice that it says possible alleles. These are possible versions of that trait you can inherit. You're going to record what you have here under the U column. Skip the next two columns, and then you're going to interview two separate people, and it has to be the same two people for the whole activity, okay? So if I interview, Luke and my husband, and I would only put Luke's traits here and my husband's traits here, and it carries over on the back side. So let's do the first one, okay? So number of fingers. 6 or 5. You'll notice there's a D and an R next to those and also all the others. And the D represents if it's a dominant allele. The R is a recessive allele. You do not have to record that. You're just going to record whether or not you inherited 5 fingers on your hands, okay, or 6 fingers. If you inherited 6 fingers, you might have had a little finger that came off the side of your thumb or maybe your pinky. It could have been removed at birth. But that still means that that trait is written in your DNA. So you have the 6-finger trait. So, and you'll notice that 5 fingers is actually recessive, not dominant. So you're going to record, I have 5, so I'm going to put 5. Both of those people that I mentioned earlier, both have 5. Now let's go down to the next trait. Earlobe shape. Earlobe shape, detached, has like a little lobe. Attached is like mine. So when you look at my ear, it kind of goes straight into my face like this. I do not have a separate little lobe here. So mine is attached. Cleft or no cleft, chin cleft. It could be a dimple, or when you feel the bottom of your chin, if I stretch the skin here, and I could feel a little divot here in the bone, or it may go up a little bit, that's still a cleft. You can count that. I have no cleft. Skin pigment, color, you have color versus albinism. Eye color, brown, not brown. Mine is not brown. Hairline, widow's peak or peak. I do have a widow's peak. So right here, you can see in all my gray hair, right here with this widow's peak, it goes up. And so if it was a straight hairline, it would be recessive, but a widow's peak is dominant. Hitchhiker or straight. My thumbs are straight. I also have a separate gene called a club thumb, which is a recessive trait, which makes them short and stubby. But it's a marker on my finger. But it is straight. If it wasn't, it would crooked. It would go to the right or to the left. Hand crossing. Take your fingers and weave your fingers together, or your hands and weave your fingers together, and look down and see which thumb crosses over. My left thumb crosses over my right thumb. And so I'm left over right, hand crossing. If you try to make your fingers go the opposite way, they do not feel, it doesn't feel quite right. And it's just simply because you don't have the gene and the recipe for making your hands go that way. Okay. Tongue roll is taco tongue. If you stick your tongue out and it can curve upward like a taco, that's tongue roll. Height, dwarf or normal. Dwarfism, achondroplasia is dominant. I have normal height, and so I would put normal, but that is recessive, which is interesting. Eyebrows, I do have what's considered a bushy eyebrow. I have to have my eyebrows kind of tweezed and waxed to make them smaller. Face shape, I have a square face versus round. My jawline is prominent, and you can see that it's kind of square as opposed to having a round or a heart-shaped face. Color vision, I can see all colors, Roy G. Biv. I do not have a form of color blindness, and usually it's red-green or red-blue. It could be partial or more prominent, and you would not be able to see reds and pinks and greens or possibly blues and purples. There's going to be some discrepancy there where you are not able to perceive those colors. Freckles, I have freckles. Dimples, I have wrinkles, but I do not have dimples. And so dimples, if you smile, if you have one here or two, that counts. If you flip the page on the back, handedness, right or left. The two tasters we will not do. We actually have tasting papers that we would do this in class if we were there. But to give you an idea, both of these, PTC is a natural chemical in certain foods. Vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts have PTC in them. People who like those vegetables probably are not a taster like me. I don't mind those vegetables. But for folks who think they're kind of nasty and they just think they don't taste right to them, they're probably a taster of PTC. Another one is sodium benzoate, which is a preservative that's added to some foods, and different people actually taste different things, if you taste anything at all. I taste kind of taste like an envelope when I taste that. So it would augment how I taste different foods. So it makes sense that your sense of taste is influenced some by genetics or how you want, and this is the reason maybe you like some foods and other people don't, but also by your sense of smell. So when you have a cold, we know it's hard to taste. You can't smell, so it's hard to taste your food too. Hair texture, I definitely have straight, even though it wants to curl up once in a few places. Mine is considered straight. You can't put wavy or curly, and then eyelashes long, and it says recessive, but it's supposed to be short. And so mine, unfortunately, are very short, stubby eyelashes, which the rest of my family members have very long, beautiful eyelashes. But anyway, it is what I have. So we're all a product of our different genes. These are just some. There are many more, but it's just fun to be able to look at yourself and evaluate what you have. No judgment, because we're all made uniquely, beautifully, and uniquely made.